Hello all and welcome to Crochet Designs. My name is Mary and in today's tutorial we are making this gorgeous little love heart coaster that you see right here. Ta-da! Alright, it is a heart coaster and we are creating this coaster for our Valentines. Yay, very exciting. Alright, so today you will need an 8-ply cotton or a DK weight cotton or a 3-weight overseas. So kind of a lighter weight cotton if you will. And you could probably get away with the 4-ply, which is a light 2-weight overseas. It would be a lot smaller if you use the 4-ply. Preferably the 8 is better for me. I actually dropped the hook size down. The actual hook size called for a 4mm hook, but I actually used a 3.5. Let me get a close up real quickly. There we go. So I used the 3.5mm crochet hook. So make sure you drop a hook size. It kind of closes everything in and tightens it up a little bit more, I think. You will need a pair of scissors and you will need that pesky sewing, darning, weaving needle, anything that has a little tip that you can sew your ends in. You've got 2 ends, one in the beginning and one at the end, and you will need 2 stitch markers. And that's pretty much all you will need to make your gorgeous love heart filet coaster. It's actually a filet piece of work. Filet meaning you're mixing normal doubles or even half doubles or even singles with chain spaces, forming that little space in the middle so you kind of see a little heart looking thing. I hope you can see that there. Yeah, you can see it better in the picture anyway. All right, so thank you very much for joining us and good luck creating your gorgeous filet love heart coaster for your Valentines. Alrighty, we're going to start off by making a slip knot. Grab the tail end of your yarn, wrap it around your finger once and twice, holding it there and holding it down there. Pass the back loop halfway over your finger, hold it there. Pass your other loop all the way over, pop your hook in and give your work a tug. All right. Okay, so now we're going to chain 24. And a chain is yarn over your hook, pull a loop through once, yarn over twice. All right, so go ahead and chain 24. That's our second one. 3, 4, 5, and I'll catch you up in a moment. (23) and 24. All right, so right now you should have a row of chains. Yeah, let's get a nice close up for you to see. In the first stitch, we're going to put a stacked single crochet or a standing double crochet. And that's just finding that first loop, pop your hook in, pull a loop through like so, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through both those loops. Now, whilst you're here, you want to ignore that top loop there, but just go to the base loop. I like to call it the side base loop, which is a really awkward way of calling it, but it's a bit tricky. So you go into that base loop, pull a loop through, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through both those loops. Just grab a stitch marker and pop it through the top 2 loops of that stitch that you just created, the very, very last stitch. It's a little awkward, especially in front of a camera. It's a little awkward, but go ahead and put your stitch marker there, all right? And then we'll start doing our double crochets across. So yarn over your hook. You are already in that stitch right there. Jump right over to the next stitch, which is there. Pop your hook in the loop, pull a loop up. You've got your 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, 2 loops left, yarn over, pull through both those loops. That's a double crochet in the US terminology or a treble in the UK. Once again, pop your yarn over your hook. You're going to make sure you don't go into the same chain that you're in. Go right into the very next chain there and do your double crochet by pulling a loop through, 3 loops, yarn over, pull through 2, 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the last 2. All right, so your job now is to continue along the way. Let me bring that down a little bit. Continue along the way doing your double crochets in every stitch all the way across, all right, until you get to your very last stitch. And I'm going to pop this on fast until we get to the end, and I'll meet you right at the end in just a moment. Alright, so I have, I think, one more stitch to go. No, there's two. It's a bit tricky to see. So pop your hook in the very next stitch right there. And one more right there. Make sure you get your last, your last stitch right there. Nice tight stitch, yeah? Alright, and also make sure you have 23 stitches across. So what you're counting, and I'll get you a nice close-up, are these little V looking things. So you've got your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 and 23. So make sure you have your 23 V stitches across. Okay. Now turning your work, just turn your work that way. Or you can turn the other way. It's whatever suits you. Oh, I'm all tangled there. You can turn this way if you like. Yeah. Preferably I like it the other way, but everyone's different. Some people like the other way, and that's entirely up to you. Now what you want to do, there's going to be no chains. You're just going to pop your hook in that kind of same stitch that you are in. Yeah, 2 loops on top, and you're going to pull a loop through like that. We're going to do another one of the stacked single crochets or standing double crochet. Yeah, so yarn over your hook, pull a loop through there, and then you go back into that side loop, the base loop, side base loop, and you're going to do the same thing. Pull a loop through, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through both those loops. This is where you pop your stitch marker again. Now, when you're doing a stacked single crochet, a stacked single crochet or a standing double crochet, it's fairly important to pop a stitch marker because they can sometimes look like 2 stitches at the end of the row. Now you're going to pop a double crochet in every stitch all the way across. If you want to see what the stitch looks like, give you a nice close-up. It's 2 loops on top and your post. This is your post, the long part on the bottom. Okay, so you've got it like that. And do your double crochet in every stitch across. Super easy. This row, super easy. All right, so what I'm going to do once again, just show you how it looks, yep, is pop this on fast again for you, and I will meet you right at the very end of the row, and off we go. Alright, so we're almost at the end of the row here, and you can probably see I have 1 double crochet before the stitch marker, so we'll do that one right there. And then we have our stitch marker stitch right there. Now mine's fairly tight, hopefully yours isn't as tight. You want to pop your hook in the stitch with a stitch marker, that's not too bad, and do a double crochet. All right, now you can remove that stitch marker and get it ready for the next row. All right, so what you should have is that, and once again, you should still have 23 stitches across. Make sure you check that count or your next row is not going to work. Yeah, turn your work like you did before, whichever way suits you. I'm going this way. Yeah, pop your hook in that very same stitch that you are in, pull a loop through. Notice how, I'll just tell you real quickly, notice how I hold that, because if I don't hold it, this is going to come undone, yeah? So pop your hook into the stitch, pull a loop through, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, once again, in that very side base stitch, pull a loop through, 2 loops, yarn over, pull through both those loops, grabbing your stitch marker and popping it in there. Alright, so from here we are doing a double crochet in your next one. This time we're counting them. We're going to assume this is 1, which it is, 1, 2, 3. We want to get 11 stitches across, yeah? 4, 5, oops, that didn't work. Let's try it again. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. I'll just wait for everyone to catch up there. All right, what you should have is that 11 stitches across. If you were to count them from this side, you would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And what you would have is 1 stitch spare in the middle. This is where we start the fillet, all right? This is where you chain 1, skip that 1 stitch in the middle, jump into the very next stitch, so you're skipping that stitch, you're going into the next with a double crochet. So you've already started your fillet stitch right there. So now what you're going to do is double crochet in every stitch across, and if you did your count right, you should have 11 double crochets at the end of this row. All right. I'll just speed that up for you. Just get to the end of the row real quickly, and then we'll have a little bit of a chat. And there's second last stitch. And before we do the last stitch, I'll just show you what it looks like. All right. So we're going to do the last stitch together. You should have like a little hole in the middle, and you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and the very last stitch will be 11. This is why you needed to have that count to be 23. All right, so there's your last stitch, which is 11. Remove your stitch marker and get it ready for the next row. Flip your work yet again. Once again, we're going to do our stacked single crochet or our standing double crochet. Like so. All right. Pop your stitch marker in. In the previous row, we made 11 double crochets across. Now we're going to make 9, okay? You've already got your 1 there with your standing double crochet. So let's go into the very next one. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, oops, try that again, 6, 7, 8, and 9. All right, so what we're going to do now is make a chain space here and a chain space there. So chaining 1, you're going to skip that double crochet and make a double crochet on top of the one before your next space, like so. Chaining 1, skip the space, go into the double crochet there, like so. Chain 1, and now you're just going to skip that double crochet, go into the next one, and we're going to count 9 across as we're going. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and if you did your maths correctly in the previous round, you would have your 9th right here. Is that split? No. You would have your 9th. I think it is split, but I'm going to put it through the... there. Oh, no, that didn't work. Let's try that again. Right there. A little bit tight, but it's there. All right. Remove your stitch marker and just have a quick look at what you've done, which is that. All right, so what you've started, that's the base of your heart, and this is the next step. So we're going to go in ladder form up and then around like so. All right, so flip your work, and in your stacked single crochet in the beginning, or your standing double crochet. There's many names for this particular stitch, so keep that in mind when reading patterns. Okay. All right, so once again, this way we're going to count 7 across. There's 1 already done, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And from here, we're going to chain 1, skip that first stitch, go into the very next stitch, chain 1. We're going to make these gaps across, yeah? So skip the space, go into the next stitch, chain 1, skip that space, go into the very next stitch, chain 1, skip that space, go into the very next stitch. We're going to do it one more time, chain 1, except now we're going to start counting again. Skip that first stitch and go into the very, so skip that one, go into the next one with 7 across. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and your last stitch right there with your stitch marker right there is 7. It's either too tight or split. I'm doing well today. All right, here we go. And once again, if you start to look at your work, you'll start to see that base of the love heart, and it's starting to go out. All right, turn your work once again, stacked single crochet or standing double crochet in your first stitch, stitch marker in, all right, and we're going 5 across this time, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And now we start our fillet. Chain 1, skip the first stitch into the next one, chain 1, and remember, wherever you see a space, you're going to put a space across. This doesn't always work this way. It will work this way for the next few rows, but it does change later. Chain 1 into the next stitch, the next double crochet. Chain 1, you're skipping your space into your next double crochet. Chain 1, skipping your space, next double crochet. Chain 1, skip the space, next double crochet. You have one more, but this is the part, chain 1. where you start counting your 5 across. So you skip that first one, go into the next one, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and your stitch marker stitch, 5. Removing your stitch marker like so. Flipping your work yet again. Now this time we're doing 3 across. So single in your first piece there. This is actually a single crochet, guys. So that's why they call it a stacked single crochet, because you're stacking them up. Yeah. So side single right there. I call it a side single. It's not really a side single. There's no such word. She's making things up, guys. All right, so remember we did 5 before. Now we do 3. So it's 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1, skipping that first double crochet, going into your next one. Chain 1. And now you've got all of these chain 1 spaces. You're going to go right across them until you get to that last section there, and off we go, skipping your space into your stitch. Chain 1, skip, stitch. Chain 1, skip, stitch. Chain 1, skip, stitch. Chain 1, skip, stitch. Still going. Chain 1, skip, stitch. Chain 1, skip, and go into the stitch. We have 1 more to do, and then we start counting. Chain 1, you're skipping your first double crochet and you're counting 3 across. 1, 2, and your stitch marker stitch, 3. Removing that stitch marker and have a look-see at what you have. All right, from here we're going to flip our work. This time we're not going to be doing any more filet crochets, but we are going to repeat this same row that we just did 1 more time. All right, so you pop your standing double crochet or your stacked single crochet right here. And there's your stitch marker, and you do your normal double crochet in that next stitch, normal double crochet in the next stitch. Oops, don't lose this thread like I just did. And then you're going to repeat exactly the same. You're not going to add any more, decrease or anything. You're just going to repeat what we just did. So chain 1, skip the space, into the stitch. Chain 1, space, stitch. I keep missing those. Make sure you're getting that. I'll show you what I'm doing. Okay, so you know. I'm accidentally taking just that top loop there. You want to get into the whole stitch and make sure 2 loops are on top. That can happen when you're doing filet crochet. Yeah. Keep going all the way across, all the way until you get to that last chain space. Now remember, if I'm going too fast for you, just slow the video down a bit. You can do that in your own settings. And we're at the last chain space. Once again, you're just going to keep going as you were before all the way across. So really what you needed to do was 3 double crochets, the rest of them fillet, and then the last 3 double crochets. Oh, this one's really tight. Of course it is. And there you go. All right. Now this is where the fillet is going to change. All right. I'll show you what you have so far. that's the basis of your heart. It starts, it's gone to the sides. Now you're going to close it up in the middle. So you're going to go, it's going to go around like that. Okay. All right. So flipping your work like normal. And the start of your row is always the same. Popping your stitch marker in without splitting the yarn. I still think I split it, but we'll find out at the end of the row. All right, so from here, you're starting your row the same. So you're doing your second double crochet and your third. All right, so now what you're going to do is chain one, skip the first space, and this is your first one, I'm going to call it, yeah? Chain one, skip your next space, this is your second. Whoops, I've done that again. Oh, I'm doing well. Second one. I really am doing well in this stitch. I wonder if the thread is split. There we go. Second one. Chain one. Skip your space, go into your third one. Chain one. Skip the space, go into your fourth one. And hold it there for a minute. All right, so what you've done is you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. You're going to have 4 spaces on this side, 1, 2, 3, 4, which means you need to fill up this space right here. So instead of doing your chain one, you're going to put a double crochet in that space right over your chains, yeah. Or if you're game enough, you can actually put it in the chain, which can be a little tricky. Really tight, like so. You can do that if you like. Personally, I think I like it over it anyway when it comes to fillet, but it's up to you either way. So I'm going to pop the double crochet in the space and a normal double crochet in your next double crochet. So you've got 3 there. Now you're going back to chain one and your first stitch is there, so that's 1, and there's a second one, and there's your third one, so you're back into your fillet again, yep, and there's your fourth one. And that's 1, 2, and 3, and I'll show you what we've done in a minute. There. So what you've done is you've filled up the center. So that's now going to start shaping your heart that way. All right. So just pulling it all out. It's too tight. Turn your work like normal. Get excited, guys. We're almost done with this. I know it doesn't look like it yet, but it will once it's done. So do your standing double crochet or your stacked single. And now you're going to do a double. She's got single on the brain now. Double across again until you get to your next space. All right, but this time you're going to fill up this space. So you put a double crochet in that space and a double in your next stitch. Yep. Now you chain one. And you're doing your 2 across. So 1 in there, chain 1, and 1 into the next one. Hold it there. Now you're going to put a double crochet in that space, and then a double in these 3 stitches. So 1 in each, 1, 2, and 3. You're going to put a double crochet in that space. A double in your next stitch. And then you chain 1, go into your next double crochet, chain 1, you're skipping your spaces, yeah? Next, double crochet and hold it there. We're going to fill up this area as well. So double crochet in that space and a double crochet in every stitch across. Oops. Oops. And there you go. Taking out your stitch marker. Flip your work like normal. Stacked single crochet. If you can get it. Popping your stitch marker in that first stitch, if I can grab it. Went flying across the room there, or flying across the table, I should say. All right, double crochet in your very next stitch, and you can count them if you like, or you can wait till the end. 2, 3, 4. I'm going to stop counting in a minute. 5, once I show you this part here. All right, once again, you're going to be filling up all these spaces. You're filling up all the spaces and you're doing all your doubles now. So you're closing up shop. So you're going into the space with a double crochet, into the stitch with a double crochet, space, and stitch right here. Now the rest of these are double crochets all the way across. Keep going. All right, now we're at that last double crochet there. And then we've got our spaces again. You're going to fill them up. It's a super easy row, yeah? Just double crochets everywhere. In that very last stitch there. All right, turn your work. Stacked single crochet. And double crochet in every stitch across the row. All right, so go ahead and pop a double crochet in all the stitches across the row. Finish off this row right here. Meet me there and I'll talk about what we're going to do next. Alrighty guys, here I am at the end of the row. We're going to do a double crochet in that very top stitch right there. And once again, we're going to turn the work, but we're not doing a stacked single crochet or a standing double crochet. We're going to turn our work like normal. Instead, we're going to pop a single crochet only, which means popping your hook in, pull a loop through, 2 loops on top, yarn over, pull through both those loops, and pop your stitch marker in that stitch right there. We're going to use that at the end of the round, because this is a round now, this is not a row. Okay, and what I mean is you're going to pop a single crochet in every stitch you come to until you get to the end of this side, and then we're going to fill up a corner, and then we're going to turn our work. All right, just going to pop this on fast until we get to the next stitch marker, and off we go. All right, we're almost there. I've got one more before the stitch marker. And in that stitch marker, you're going to pop your first single crochet. Take the stitch marker out. Don't need it anymore, that one. Your second single crochet. And a third single crochet. So you've turned the corner, yeah? And now what you're going to do, remember all our standing double crochets with our chains. You're just going to go into any space you can find with a single crochet. All right, there's a space there, single crochet, and just put one in that one there, but popping it through the stitch like that. Go into the next stitch there, and here you'll have another space. You'll kind of see them, some of them might be really tight, but go into them and see, do the best you can. Try not to miss any or your work will buckle a little bit later. All right, so make sure you're going into all the stitches, and if the stitches bother you, just go into the space if you find that easier. I'm going to stick with my system because I'm going one way. I'm not going to change it now. Yeah, into a stitch all the way across. All right, I'm nearing the end of the row. I thought I'd stop here because I do have another space there. All right, so once again, I'll show you. Pop your hook in there. This is the chains from the beginning row, okay? Just grab that tail and pop it behind. You can just hold it with your fingers. And then you pull your loop through like normal and complete your single crochet. To cover the chains, we're going to continue doing your 2 more double crochets and make this the corner. All right, so I hope that made sense. And when you get here, you've got your very next stitch, which is there, and you're going in the 2 loops of that stitch right there with your single crochets all the way across the row here. So this is easy. You can find those 2 loops. Yeah, make sure you don't miss a stitch once again. Because this is quite basic, I'm going to let you just watch me in fast and get to the end of this row, and I'll meet you there in just a moment, and off we go. All right, I have 2 more to go. It's very tricky here because this can look a little bit thick, but we're going into that second double crochet there, and then we're going into the base of that standing double crochet there with 1, 2, and 3. And just avoiding the tight area, jumping straight into that stitch there. And you are now doing the sides again. Just making sure that you didn't miss any stitches. You can check if you like. You're doing your sides yet again. I might pop this on fast, and I'll meet you at the end of this row. All right, I'm nearing the end of this side. I'll just show you where I am. Okay, up here has got a single crochet right up the very top. So we're going into that stitch there, and that's where our single crochet is. What you're going to do is jump into that space, 1, 2, and your third one will be that single crochet that we first started with. So you slip stitch into that single crochet right there, taking out your stitch marker, pull up a loop, and you have completed the square. Just have a quick look at it and make sure that you haven't made any boo-boos. All right, so there you go. Ta-da! Pretty cool, huh? All right, so what you want to do now, give your work a cut, pull that tail through, give it a tug, flip it, grab your sewing needle, and you are going to weave in these ends. I'm just going to show you the last one real quickly. Well, that's not bad actually. I usually struggle to thread a needle. Thread your needle. So this is where we are. That's your right side of your work. Flip it, and we want the needle to just go through some stitching at the back. And what I'm doing is I'm actually being very naughty and splitting yarn on the inside of your work. It's not just going through the stitches, I'm splitting, which is a no-no in crochet, but I do it anyway. Make sure you can't see the needle from your front. I do some very naughty things in crochet. Don't tell anyone, yeah? Don't tell all the professionals. They'll yell at me. They yell at me. Don't do that. Don't do that. It's not good, they'll say. Now, the reason it's not good is if you have made a mistake and you want to take this undone, when you split the yarn, you can't. Okay? Now, that has happened to me before, and I'm going to keep going further across, where I've done that and I haven't been able to take it undone. I had to cut into my work and add more thread, which meant more weaving in. There you go. Check the front, make sure you can't see it. And it's pretty good, I think. So what we'll do now is we'll go back in another direction, or you can even go in and under some stitching. You can go wherever you want. It is your piece after all, and you are the maker, so you do what you like. Yeah, I'll just give you a few tips, and if you have your own ways of doing things, that's good too. There's no right or wrong way of weaving in ends, guys, because you just have to really make sure you leave long tails, I think, at least. This gives you plenty of tail to weave in if you're struggling to keep it in. And I have to admit, cotton I struggle with. The ends have trouble staying in, so I'm going to go back in another direction one more time. Now, when I say back, I mean, you know, find a different area. We're here. Find like a different area or a different part to split into. Or once again, you can go across there as well. You can do anything you like. Now, I didn't check that, but I'm assuming it's okay. All right. So after you've done twice or 3 times, however you feel like doing, or however many you feel like doing, just give it a gentle tug and it kind of hides in there. All right. So that's your first tail right there. So I'm still so far away. I'm in too close. There we go. So now the idea is to grab your other tail and do exactly the same thing. And this is easier because it's already tucked in at the back. Just weave it in and out of there or in and out of there, whichever pleases you. Thank you very much for joining us today, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share. Do all the wonderful things that you guys pretty much already do for me. And don't forget to join us on our lives at 4 p.m. Wednesday afternoons, 10 a.m. Saturday mornings, Melbourne, Australia time. Marry that up with your country. We have a lot of fun, sometimes too much fun. Don't forget to join us then, and happy Valentine's Day to everyone. Ciao for now.